we go to the Patreon platform where the patron Jared Watson says he wants you to talk about why the black vote is free. Diddy, P. Diddy, Puff
P.
Daddy,
Diddy.
Puff Diddy, whatever, got it wrong, though I wish he were right. Just like with Jim Clyburn and Roland Martin, black people are being led in the wrong direction. They give the suggestion, but what they want, do they really have to do anything you ask for after the fact? Demands must be made beforehand. So let's listen to what he's talking about, because apparently
Puff doesn't know what he's talking
about. Puff Daddy, who I don't really care about,
it's
his opinion.
Let's go for
it. The black
African. All right, Puff.
Vote is not going to be for free. We're going to have to see some promises. What are we getting in return for our vote? Nothing has changed for Black America. And in order for us to vote for Biden, we can't be taken for granted like we always are because we're supposed to be Democrats or because people are afraid of Trump. It's whoever's going to take care of our community, whoever wants to make a deal. It's business at this point. We can't trust politicians, so we want to know very clearly, just like Trump made it clear that he wanted to build a wall. Biden needs to make it clear that he's going to change the lives and quality of life of black and brown people, or else he can't get the vote. I will hold the vote hostage if I have to.
You said it here, said it first.
Breaking news.
So, yes and no. Puff has no political power to implement that. Look,
well, I don't think he's talking about implementing. He said he's holding his vote.
Yeah, but he's doing a video, so he's putting that out there for other African Americans to basically hold their vote. But what are you holding your vote for? How many of you are going to hold your vote? This is kind of my point when I'm saying the solidarity of no. He's not entirely wrong, but he's wrong on this notion of Joe Biden is going to do X or Y. You need to have some level of political leverage to get them to do anything. For example, this is nonsense politics on MSNBC. Take a listen to her argument, and I'm going to explain why this argument, A, doesn't make sense, and why Puff Daddy is not going to get what he wants, but how Puff can join me and millions of others in actually trying to get what we want. But you got to be able to state what those demands are.
Yes, I think he needs to choose an African-American woman. Black women are the base of the Democratic Party. We showed that again and again. We showed it again in South Carolina, just like all those other times. So he should pick a black woman and demonstrate that he understands this particular moment and our electoral power.
Now, her point is, look, African Americans have been getting Joe Biden and Democrats elected for years. That's the most active component of the base. That's basically what Puff is saying. Mm-hmm. And he was like, look, you know, we've been getting you guys elected. You guys got to get something back. Now, the problem with this is Obama, black, gave 95% of the wealth to the top 1%. Now, that was a Democrat. That was a black Democrat. His race in no way stopped him from doing that. Meaning the issue in this case is class. It's not race. You could put anybody in that spot that's black. Who gives a shit about the color? It's more about whether or not the person is going to do the job and what they're going to do in the capacity of that job. So this notion of just giving somebody, a black woman, that particular job just because she's a black woman, it's kind of demeaning if you're being honest. But also, it's not that I don't want a black woman in that spot. Yes.
I don't get, what are her policies?
Right.
Just because she's black doesn't mean that's the right person right there. She's black. We deserve somebody that's black. No, we deserve somebody that has the policies. Is a person going to push for Medicare for all? Right.
Is a person going to, make sure that the Social Security thing gets raised so people can have a decent standard of living as they get older? Like, what is the person going to do? Get rid of college debt? Like, what is their priorities? That's the thing that matters. Right. If you're talking about something that is going to ameliorate the hard edges of our system, it's that, not the race of the person.
Right. Having a black VP, this popped up. Deborah Williams says having a black VP means nothing but symbolism.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Right. Now, if there is a black candidate
Nina Turner
that has the beliefs that are in line with mine,
they're perfect.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
But if there is a white candidate that has a better platform,
I'm going with that.
A better record, and their policies are more in line with what I want to see in that office, then I'm not going to vote for the black person just because they are black. I got a couple of super chats that I want to get into before my opinion.
They are. The black misleadership class, as Glenn Ford calls them. Look, the reason that politics is wrong and that Puff Daddy and the way that he's thinking about this is wrong is because in order to do the quote-unquote hold your vote hostage, you have to make it very clear what you want. Meaning, I am pushing for Medicare for all. That's the thing that I want. I want them to get rid of student debt. That's the thing that I want. That's my litmus test. If you want my support, that's what you get. Now, this is not based on party. And that's what needs to be understood. If the Democratic Party loses, if the Republican Party loses, they lost. That has nothing to do with me in the context of whether I'm one or the other. I am neither. I am pushing for these policies, and if you accept these policies, you get my support. If you don't accept them, I will work against you. That's where you need to be. And you need to be with that to a certain degree of unison. If you want to get Medicare for all passed, if you want to get Social Security passed, it's not going to be through the Hail Mary of Bernie Sanders. It is going to be through people all across the country getting together and pushing for those things, being willing to say, you're not getting my support. And the very fact, even though you lost, the capacity of being able to make them lose is a power in and of itself. That's the leverage that you're looking for, Puff. The leverage that you're looking for is not, I'm just going to hold my vote as an individual. It has to be a collective will where the political space is pressed on heavily in order to do X or Y, and you have the capacity to make them lose if they don't. That's all it is. Joe Biden right now is trying to figure out whether he wants to choose a black woman or whether he wants to choose a progressive. Now, those aren't necessarily mutually exclusive, but understand his reasoning. He's wondering whether he has a black vote locked up. And if he does have a black vote locked up, he'll go to the lefty. Right. Now, understand the reason why he's saying the black vote locked up, because basically, if you're going to vote for Joe Biden to the tune of 90%, Joe Biden doesn't have to do anything for you because you're going to vote for Joe Biden. That argument of you have nowhere else to go has scared the shit out of the black community for so long, they just reflexively vote Democrat. Because they reflexively vote Democrat, Democrats have realized we don't need to offer anything in this process because you're already giving us your support. You've made no demands. You don't work as a collective. You just vote for us. And because you just vote for us, we will take advantage and kind of run with it. And that's what's continued, to happen. So until Puff can get other African Americans to not vote for Democrat just reflexively that way, and be willing to say, well, yeah, the Republican may lose, but we need to set a standard in regards to what we will accept or not accept. This notion that people are willing to accept one concentration camp less, or this guy had one less rape than the other guy. Think about what you're saying as a standard for your political process. You run initially with somebody, I don't know, Ronald Reagan, that has a certain, I suppose, dignity in office. Yes, he started going mentally bad. No, he wasn't a great president, but it wasn't this notion of, they just keep getting worse. Like both candidates, year after year after year, because you have no accountability in the process. So as they give more and more money to the rich, as they give more and more money to these businesses, as they cut more and more services, we stand by and allow those Democrats to do that over and over and over again. Bill Clinton was going to privatize Social Security. He had already made the deal with Newt Gingrich. Bill Clinton, NAFTA. Bill Clinton, destabilization, Glass-Steagall. I guess I'm making the point that these were Democrats who would look at the left and say, you have nowhere else to go. And the left would say, okay. Meaning the left has just moved a standard in regards to what they're willing to support. And at no point has they were willing to say, yeah, we're not backing that. You're going to lose if you do that. The left never does that. They're terrified of Republicans. You have these other people like Sam Cedar who would tell people, hey, you got to look at this election in this kind of narrow focus pragmatism. But that's not really pragmatic at all. Yeah. If you decide, okay, my standards are going to get less and less and less, and every 4 years or every number of years, the candidate gets worse because my standards get less and less and less. You realize if there's an incentive that pushes a candidate to the right, the candidate is going to go to the right if there's no countervailing when pushing it back. You have dollars or pitchforks. And in our situation, you have a lot of dollars. You have people who are disengaged from the political process, and you have candidates who effectively have stopped representing the people who put them in that office. They're only representing themselves and the 1%ers that are giving them tons of cash. I'm saying for that process to stop, you need to function en masse outside of the party structure, and you need to be able to press your agenda by being able to make one or the other lose if they don't toe your line. That's the way to get political clout. That's the way to get political power. And by the way, if you're looking to start a new party, that's the way to start a new party also. It allows an accretion disk of people who have similar mindset to kind of start organizing around the things that they want to see in the country. And the more you can grow that, and the more nebulous but organized that is, the better your impact. If you have something that starts off with 1 million and grows to, let's say, 10 million people who say, yeah, we want Medicare for all, and all of you in all of these various states have the capacity to make the Democratic Party lose if they don't toe that agenda, that level of organization can breed a party. That's the first point. Yeah. But the second point, you've gained political leverage and political credibility by making them lose. You have no credibility in this process, Puff, because your group will always just vote reflexively Democrat. And until you engage that, nothing changes. I'm just saying accountability has to be in the process.